Good morning. All right. We have been involved in the game for over 20 years. I'm going to tell you how much the inspiration of all of you that are playing the game, inspiration of the game itself, and inspiration of Jack, what kind of impact that you've had on us, business and personally. Got to find the button. Everything starts with a dream. Wayne Guy said, my motivation was to be unique and fair, find a way that team members would challenge themselves in ways they never thought possible and be rewarded beyond their wildest dreams. If you know anything at all about construction, you know it's not fair, it's not easy, it's risky, unpredictable, and we're often required as lowly subcontractors working for a GC to sign some pretty ugly contract language. For an industry average return for a subcontractor in America is about 4.8%. Whole lot of risk, not much return. When you start a company, you got to get pretty creative. So you do things like you hire your 13-year-old son, you teach him how to weld pipe. I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world. So it rocked along and nobody was happy. So we had this bonus plan, and what happened? You get to the end of the year, figure out how much money you had, and you try to figure out how to split all that up. First thing that happened, when you hand it out, he rips the envelope open, pulls the check out, and if it wasn't more than last year, guess what? He's pissed. And then the next thing that would happen, if it wasn't more than John's, he's pissed. And then we found Jack. So we got our ass on a plane, and we flew to St. Louis, got all jacked up. We came back, started doing the OBM and all of this stuff. And eventually it took time, but we got a manager's ownership mentality. And eventually we got them tied to a low base salary. Every manager we have makes $75,000 a year. They hadn't had a raise in 8 or 9 years. There's a couple of them here today. Guys, you know you ain't going to get another one, sorry. But you know what? They don't care because they're tied to the bottom line. They know they get 10% of their department or their branch. We say there's no floor, no ceiling. I guess in actuality, probably is a floor because 10% of ought is not. But there's no cap. It can be as big as it can be. And we created owners with virtually limited risk. We thought we had this thing figured out, man. We had raised metrics where every metric you could manage your business with were hitting numbers larger than anything we'd ever dreamed possible. And then we ran into a wall, hit this thing I call the messy middle. And things started happening that got tough to deal with, like our CFO that had been with us for 20 years, great guy, we had to make a tough decision. He wouldn't get his arms around the game. We knew it was work, we knew it was the right thing to do, had to make a tough decision. And then we started dealing with this stuff like cash flow, DSOs, retainage. See, when we work for a general contractor, they hold 10% of our money until the job is done, and that's way, they got the last tulip planted. We're installing fire sprinklers. We've been done for 6-8 months. And we tried to tire manage that. It got messy, and we kept trying different things. Then we had our field foreman. See, our foreman in the field, 80% of our workforce is in the field. So we got a foreman in the field, and he came to me one day and he goes, look, man, I appreciate all this opportunity you're doing. See, because you give me 50% of the labor savings on my job. And I only make $18 an hour, and I just got a $28,000 bonus. You have changed my frickin' life. But I don't understand something. I go, what's that? He goes, well, the salesman that sold the job, see, another salesman just sold this job, and he skinnied up the estimate sheet, and he got a big old fat commission at the bottom. He's running down the road happy as hell, and I'm stuck with that job for the next 9 months that I got no chance of making anything. And I go, wow, this is messy. So we had to deal with that stuff. And you say, Clark, well, how'd you fix it? I don't know. It was a lot of trial and error and persistence. A strong commitment to fairness. And we got to where we PIP every team member on their critical number, something that they can impact They have the ability to change. Tied every team member to their critical number. Let me talk about fairness and equality for a second. Fairness does not always mean equality. And it's my belief when fairness and equality are confused, it breeds entitlement. I'll give you an example. There's two people that mean the most to me in my life. My daughter, Valerie, sitting next to me, and my son that's sitting there underneath that umbrella, Justin. Both of them work for the company. I couldn't be any more prouder than them. Let me tell you something about Justin. See, 9 years ago, he jumped off a boat into shallow water, snapped his C345. Justin will never walk planet Earth again. Done. Justin will never be able to pick up this clicker with his fingers. He can't use his fingers like you and I. He's quadriplegic. Can't feel anything from his nipples down. Will never change. Why am I telling you this? Because it is my strong belief that would have been very easy for Justin to become so entitled that he couldn't function. But because he grew up at Wayne Automatic and grew up in an environment that had open book management, and because there was transparency, I believe with everything I am that kept him from being entitled. Let me show you what's really cool. He's got a truck that's got a 6-inch lift on it, and I don't know, I'm sure there's somebody out here that's aware of what's available with accessible vehicles and things like that. Nobody makes a damn truck that's got a 6-inch lift that'll drop a chair down 32 inches where he can transfer over and get in there and drive it. He said, Dad, I'm not going to get in a minivan. It ain't happening. And I go, well, son, how are we going to get you up in that truck? He goes, I don't know. He built the seat to get his ass from that wheelchair up in that truck. I'm sure Ford will not approve of what's happening, but it works. He bought a John Deere tractor. He said, I want to be able to mow my grass. I don't want somebody mowing my grass. I go, how are you going to get your ass in there? He goes, I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out. It took him 9 months to figure out how to build that seat so he could transfer and lift him up and set him in that tractor. He pisses me off because he can weld better than I can. And I don't know how he does it because he ain't got any fingers. He can't use them. But he's not entitled. And I think that's a direct result of open book management. Moving on, return on investment. So what's the big deal, Clark? What's the ROI? Let me tell you what I think some huge ROIs are for us at Wayne Automatic. 7 out of 8 of our operation managers might have a high school diploma. Opportunities beyond your wildest dreams. Randall Drawdy. He grew up on a farm in Groveland, Florida. He was my helper 36 years ago. Went through the field, went through all the ranks. Randall's now one of our top managers. His base, $75,000, just like everybody else. Everybody knows it. They all know what the base is. Last year, he's tied to 10% of the bottom line. His PIP was $250,000. Opportunities beyond your wildest dreams. Danny Driggers, one of the best, in my opinion, best sales. We have a salesman here today. Don't take this wrong. In my opinion, one of the best sales guys we've had in our history. Became vice president. At the age of 50 years old, he couldn't read. And he learned how to do it. He's still with us, not as a vice president. He's with us as a salesman because he's semi-retired. And we like to say a little bit of Danny is a whole lot better than no Danny. ROI, no middle management. There's 16 managers that work directly for me. There's no middle. I'm telling you, when you get an ownership mentality, they make better decisions than I do. I assure you. I had set a budget in 12 years. They wouldn't want me setting a budget. I don't know what the hell. They know more about it than I do. They make better decisions than I do. We got this joke that goes around the office. Somebody comes in my office. They call it my magic quarter. They come in and say, hey, we got this issue or something. What do you think we ought to do? I don't know. They walked out, and one of them caught me. He walked out the door. He was peeking back. I pulled the drawer open and pulled what they think is my magic quarter, but it's actually a coin that was handed me by someone very special, a Navy SEAL. You know what the motto of Navy SEALs is? Fortune favors the bold. I flip that, heads or tails. They make better decisions than I do. They own it. 2009 ROI, this is what I call that. Everybody knows what happened in 2009. In 2008, money was falling off trees. We were doing $94 million in revenue, more than any time in our history. We, overnight, went from 94 million down to 48 million. Over 600 team members directly to 250. We had to get rid of over 260 vehicles. This is what happened. Randall Drawdy, along with every other team member, not one of them came up with their hand out. Because Randall Drawdy in 2008 made $75,000 base, but he also made about $300,000 in PIP. Maybe I need to explain what PIP is. We don't call bonuses. We used to charge people a quarter when they said the word bonus. Not a bonus, it's a PIP, performance incentive pay. Randall made over $300,000 in 2008. When 2009 hit, he didn't come with his hand out because he knew the numbers. It allowed us to make quick decisions, and we remained in the black, even though it was our worst year in our company history. Let me run through some numbers. 401k match. We match team members' 401k dollar for dollar up to 6% if we hit our budget. Not our revenue. We don't care about how much we do. It's how much is left over. If we hit our profit budget for the year, we match it 100%. So on. Last 3 years, we paid out $3.7 million 401k. Performance incentive plan, PIPs. This year, through June, we paid out $3.5 million in PIPs. We're going to do that again at the end of the year. We'll pay out over $7 million in PIPs this year. Revenue won't buy groceries. You can't do anything with it. 5 out of the last 6 years, we have grown our bottom line faster than the top. The bottom line is more important than the top. Everybody knows it. Everybody's tied to it. Compared 2009 income statement, I said in 2009 we were still in the black, 3.9% pre-tax. We didn't pay any PIPs out because we have a threshold. The company still has to remain strong. Nobody got a PIP. 2016, we did $95 million last year. We had a pre-tax of 21.8% when the industry average is 4.8. Now that's pre-tax, pre-PIP. You take the $7.5 million that we paid in PIPs, we're still at a 14.5% pre-tax. Pretty strong. That is what that's the power of the games and open book. Now let me shift gears real quick. I know we only have a few minutes left. Let me wrap it up with something that is really powerful. Power of purpose. No doubt if you read books, you have seen some of these books. They're written by doctors Kevin and Jackie Freiberg. I read the book Cause, and I go, there's something there that it's us. I don't know what it is. There's something there. I don't know how to do this, but there's something about it. So I got my ass on a plane again, and I flew out to California. I said, I want to meet Kevin Freiberg. And I met him. I go, Kevin, man, I read your book. I need you to help me. He goes, let me tell you something. He said, well, I like you, Clark. You're a nice guy. But see, Jackie, my wife, and I, we decided a long time ago that we're not going to work with companies that suck. I go, well, I go, Kevin, Tell you what, we don't hire people who suck, because our employee handbook says that on page 3. We don't hire people who suck. So what do you think about that? And he goes, well, Clark, what do you do for a living? I go, I install fire sprinklers. He goes, you suck. I go, what? He goes, that's why you suck. I go, well, how does it make me suck? He goes, look, start talking about this stuff like noble, heroic cause, empathy and purpose and being part of something bigger than yourself. And I'm going, yeah, well, that sounds great, Kevin. Sounds great. What do I do with that, man? We're just subcontractors. He goes, what is your noble, heroic cause? And I go, man, we're just humble guys that install sprinkler systems that nobody wants. Not one person has called any of our 6 branch offices in the last 10 years and called up and said, hey, I'm afraid my baby's going to die tonight in a fire. Will you come sprinkle my house? It don't happen. And that's what I'm telling Kevin. He goes, oh, BS. I said, find your cause. Okay. So, let me tell you something about Firefax before I talk about our cause. 75% of firefighters in America are volunteer. That don't make them bad people. Just means they're not full-time fire stations. It may not have the funding. 7 people a day lose their lives in a home fire on the average. I don't know how long you've been here, but if you've been here for 3 days, 21 people lost their lives in a home fire. More lives are lost due to fire than all natural disasters combined. Average response time. I don't care whether you're a volunteer firefighter or a career firefighter, 8 minutes. That's not 8 minutes from the time that candle lights that tablecloth on fire. No, that's 8 minutes by the time somebody gets on the horn and calls 911 and they dispatch it over to the fire station and finally get a hold of somebody and he slides his ass down the pole, jumps in that red truck to come save you. 8 minutes. Not real long, right? Just 8 minutes. Tell you what happens in 3. Flashover. Flashover is anything that can burn, will burn, and does burn in less than 3 minutes within a compartment. That means in this conference room, if there was a fire to start, you think, well, I can get my ass out of here. Anybody ever heard of the Station nightclub fire? Over 100 people died. Flashover occurred. They didn't make it out. I talked to Rob Feeney. This is hard. His fiance, they were there standing 3 foot from the stage listening to who? The band Great White. There you go. The fire broke out. He saw an exit out the back. Security wouldn't let him go out the back. He grabbed his wife to go out the front door. Time he got there was a wall of bodies 10 foot high. The last he felt of his fiancée was the skin pulling off her wrist. Never saw her again. Flashover. It's deadly. I'm telling you, the best firefighting equipment on planet Earth known to man, with the put on, the best trained firefighter cannot survive flashover when that occurs. Dead before they get to you. That's fact. I got a 1-minute clip, and I know I'm running a little over time, but I'm about to wrap it up. It's going to be hard to listen to, but it's real.
911, is this the house on fire on Gila Lane? Ma'am, can you hear me? Yes, we have the address. Is anybody in the house?
Yes, there are 2 children and my mother.
How old is your mom?
They're trapped upstairs.
Trapped upstairs.
Throw this at the window. Throw this at the window.
Are they awake, do you know?
They're trapped inside. They can't.
Do you know if they're awake?
I don't care. Yes, they're screaming. Just break the window. I don't care. Break the window.
There's no ladder or anything that they can jump down to?
No, they're locked in. They're locked inside.
And you do see flames visible, ma'am?
Oh, the entire house on fire. I can see flames. They're trapped. There's only one way out, and it's on fire.
Okay, I heard somebody trying to break the window. Is there anything that can break the window?
We're trying, but there's no way to break it. There's no way.
Okay, and this is your house, correct?
Yes.
How old are the kids?
7 and 5. Break every window you can.
That's the last time Mom's voice was ever heard from, or her 2 children. See, that sucks. That sucks. You know why? Because if there would have been a fire sprinkler system installed in that house, 1 fire sprinkler would have activated, extinguished that fire. Mom and 2 kids would have been alive today. Not every sprinkler in the house. It's not like the movies when you see all that stuff and everything floods. No, it's just 1 sprinkler putting out 12 gallons a minute. That's it. Done. Boom. No bubbles, no troubles. Nobody had to die. That's why it sucks. We got the answer. And I don't mean Clark guy, I don't mean Wayne guy, I don't mean Wayne automatic fire sprinkler. We didn't come up with this. Started in the 1800s. And people are still frickin' dying. Why? It's stupid. Our question is, if not now, when? And if not us, who? That's our heroic cause. Kevin says, man, you got to come up with a short word, something to remember, something easy. So we did a contest. We had that contest, and this is what we came up with. Minutes matter. That right there is our heroic cause. Minutes matter. Because families and dreams become realities, become memories in 3 minutes. Minutes matter. It meant so much that the founder put his first ink on his shoulder at the age of 74 years old. What's really cool is we got a temporary tattoo contest going on right now. We got team members, kids, putting temporary tattoos on them and running around and doing stuff like this right here. Rob Bell worked with us for over 10 years, or still works with us, been with us for over 10 years. His 3 daughters, 4 days ago, had a fire in their neighborhood. They stuck their tattoos on there, and they're in front of that house with Minutes Matter. I don't know, I haven't been there to know whether anybody died in that house. And I'm not advocating we be ugly, but I'm just telling you, how cool is it when kids start telling their dad and their mom that you're heroes? They're heroes. You see what's going on here? See what's happening? We hand out these stickers that I saved a life. We have these fire save hard hats. As of 2 days ago, there were 63 activations of a 1 sprinkler head that extinguished a fire from systems that we installed just this year. I don't know how many lives have been saved, but it was 63 of them just that we know. We don't get a call every time it happens. They may call another sprinkler contractor to come out there and just replace the head, because it's not a big deal to change the head when 1 activates. 63 of them. They get a sticker every time it happens. Every team member that was involved in installing that system. Doesn't matter whether you're a bean counter in accounting, or you got there hanging a field, or a sales guy that sells it, or a designer that did it. Everybody gets recognized. We said, hey, let's get rid of these plain-looking company trucks, right? They just got a bunch of words on them. We went out and got these bad trucks. We got them jacked up, got Minutes Matter on. Let me tell you what happens. When Reggie right there pulls into the gas station to fill his truck up, he can't get out of the truck without somebody going, oh, man, where the hell did you, what's Minutes Matter? Opportunity. Huge. And you know how that makes Reggie feel? Hero, baby. We've always had enhanced team building, and I'm just about to wrap up. Please don't hook me off this stage. This has taken, when you get something that strong, bigger than yourself, it takes team building to the next level. Empathy and walk a mile. You've got to get your people out of that zone they're in and step over here and realize what somebody else is doing and how they work together. Every one of our team members walk in the shoes of somebody else for at least 2 days. Brandon, he goes out in the field and he hangs pipe for 2 days. He ain't just selling it in the morning. Now he goes, oh, man, this is hard stuff. Makes a difference. I'm going to wrap up with a final thought before I say thank you to Jack, the game, and all of you that have inspired us. My belief that OBM engages the head, purpose, and cause engages the heart. You put those two together, unstoppable. Thank you.